21 after 5, this is Channel Africa, and we're continuing to celebrate incredible women, but especially women in leadership. We're chatting now to Coach Pam Yako, who is the founder of Zenande Leadership Consulting, as she continues to inspire women to embrace their potential. Good afternoon, Miss Yako. Welcome to The Upside.
Good afternoon. Good to be here.
Good to be chatting to you about the incredible work that you've done for decades in empowering women. Let's kick things off by chatting about your career in government, in governance, environmental management, and of course now executive coaching. Maybe let's chat about what your driving force has been over, the chapters of your journey and your life. What have you seen as, the driving force in terms of the work that you've done?
Thank you. I think fundamentally it's about social justice, ensuring that more and more people, especially women, get the voice and the platforms to represent themselves. And so that's basically been the driving force. But more and more, as I got involved in structures, organizations that I worked with, or for, I realized that voice is not necessarily listened to or heard, and that sometimes positions are not always leading to influence. So I guess it was just about ensuring that there is more influence and more women that not only get positions, but they get positions and be of influence.
And from your experience, what has been kind of coaching women into leadership? What does it look like, and what do you think has been lacking? And not necessarily from like a negative sense, but what do you think we need to do more of to position ourselves in leadership?
I would say primarily self-belief and being the champion of yourself and what you stand for. Because many women have got the technical skills, okay? They've studied the thing, they've worked in the field for long enough, but they don't believe in themselves enough. So I would say being your own champion, self-belief, and just trusting that people around you, which I believe very strongly in the notion of sisterhood, does help propel women forward.
Mam Yako, maybe chat to us about the biggest leadership mistakes women make that prevent them from reaching their full potential. Because I'm all for us growing and becoming leaders, but it's also important for us to learn from the people that have come before us. Maybe chat to us about what you've seen that leaders make from a mistake perspective. What is being done, and how do we rectify that once we're in that leadership position?
I think there's a systemic issue. And there's a personal mistake. The systemic issue, the system was never designed for us. Let's just put that out there, that it was never designed for us, even though in many countries and in the world over now, there's an understanding that more and more women needs to take up positions, right? And oftentimes we're not prepared for that, all right? We get it because either someone saw something in us and we didn't believe in ourselves. But then I think that for me, the biggest mistake is to think that you can do it on your own.
Yeah.
All of us have got the agency and have got can help others and work with others. So I'm saying we've got the personal agency, but it's in the collective and building a team around yourself and like-minded, supportive network that will be able to keep you there. Because you can get the position, but what will keep you there is people that constantly support you and become your support network.
And also with that, I watch the young generation. I think we camp in our imposter syndrome quite a lot, when I think about the type of networks we are, we want to go to these events, but we don't necessarily do the talking. We don't put ourselves out there. When you talk about networks, it's one thing to get the contact, but beyond that, what are we supposed to be doing to kind of grow the relationships that we have with the women in power?
All right. Firstly, I think the notion of imposter syndrome, I think is a patriarchal construct. So we said enough. You know, the thing about society and belief systems, things are said enough that we think that we hear it enough such that we think it's true. Okay? And therefore we start living in that way, all right? So I think that I don't think there's anything wrong with women. It is everybody's way of thinking that if you go to a platform for the first time, right, you will be a little bit shy. You will be a little bit reluctant to make your point. It doesn't matter who you are. However, it's then made it as if it's only a women's issue, right? That's when the imposter syndrome comes in. But it is, I think for me, it's constant messaging around I belong here, okay? I do belong, and keeping that in place. Incidentally, I'm just finishing writing a book on these issues. Maybe we'll talk about that later, or maybe another time when I've actually published the book. The thing is just to understand that I belong here, right? And say what you need to say when you feel like saying it, right? There is an element of diplomacy that you can put in, but the reality is that you are there for a reason, and depending on your belief system, if you can't be in a space if you are not going to open your mouth. Unfortunately, that's the way the world works.
Coach Pam Yako, you are the founder of Zenande Leadership Consulting. Maybe let's chat about the work that you do there, and how you're continuing to empower young women to reach their full potential.
Firstly, I used my own experience, right? I was fortunate enough at a very young age to get an executive position, but I didn't believe in myself, all right? And I thought that the way that I could come across was to be aggressive, so that I was very young. I think I was 32 at the time.
Wow.
So the more aggressive I get, the more they're going to respect me, right? So I became, a couple of years later, somebody did a 360 assessment of myself. And my team said, they called me behind my back. My boardroom was called the slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
And there I was, walking into these boardrooms, and my boardroom thinking that I'm going to nail them. They must know what I'm driving performance. So emotional intelligence is important. And knowing that you don't have to be aggro to get your point across.
Yes.
So if I were to say lessons for myself and what I teach women, or what is just to believe in themselves, know how to show up in a way that does not make the other person feel less off. And thirdly, having the emotional intelligence to know how you say things and when you say and in what context.
Powerful stuff. Thank you so much for joining us on The Upside. You are an incredible inspiration and woman, and thank you so much for continuing to fight for us, but also continuing to empower young women in various industries. Coach Pam Yako, Zenande Leadership Consulting, founder right here on The Upside. It's 5:30. Let's get into some sports. Icon's got your details.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.